Hey guys, so in this video, we're going to run through how to create multi-step sign-up forms. So these are going to be really helpful if you want to collect a little bit more information about your users prior to them submitting the form initially. Some cases where this is going to be really helpful. Number one is if you've got multiple products for multiple different genders. So if you've got men's products and women's products, you're probably not going to want to show men's products to women and vice versa. What you want to do there is make sure that you're segmenting as much as possible and you're delivering what people really want. Another example of this would be if you've got products that are radically different, right? If you've got skincare products and if you've got clothing, right? You might want to segment that out as well. Like, hey, what are you most interested in? What content, what emails are you going to be most interested in receiving? So that's kind of what we want to do here. And basically there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. The first and easiest way is just go create sign up form. You can choose from any one of these examples here. So you can either say, hey, you know what? I'm going to use like one of these multi-step email and SMS ones. So that's another reason actually you might want to add SMS onto it. Or you can just go up here, go build from scratch. And then you can say, okay, what's the form name? This is going to be testing 2. Which list should this be added to? So you want to make sure you have a list of where subscribers are going to be added to, so you can filter that out. So let's say it's the newsletter here. Typically what we do is pop up. You can do full page, you can do the flyout, you can do the embed code as well, but typically this is what we're going to opt for, and this is what the kind of video is going to be on today too. So save and continue to the design. It's going to redirect you here, and now it's going to give you this option here, right? So this is just kind of their basic pop-up, not a lot of pizzazz on here, but what you can do is you can do a couple of things, right? You can add multi-steps here. You can either have multiple steps on this same pop-up, or you can add additional steps, right? So if what you want to do is collect SMS opt-in, you can add this as a step after people have added their email. This might be helpful because then at least you know you've collected the email and you're not, maybe potentially hindering the opt-in rate by asking for too much information, right? If you're asking for like their phone number, their email, their birthday, their preferences, it's like, yo, this is starting to get a little bit intrusive. So what you want to do is space that out, especially for SMS opt-in. What we found works really well is splitting it out and having email opt-in, and then after that have SMS opt-in. Now that's one option. You can also ask for additional profile information, and then you can also just add a blank step. So you can do any one of these, whatever is your kind of personal preference here and whatever you're looking to add. I'm just going to say add a blank step. Now for the purposes of this video, like you can add that blank step, and then you can go in here and you can add different blocks in. So you could add text blocks, SMS disclosure. So if you do want that SMS block in here, email input, whatever, radio buttons, multi-check box, etc. There's a lot of different things that you can do here. I'm going to delete this because one feature that I think is really cool is you can actually go in here and then add a block to your existing opt-in form. So for example, for a client we're working with right now, what we want to do is we want to segment. They sell men's and women's clothing. We want to segment for men's and women's, and we want to make sure that people are getting the right content at the right time. What we want to do is add a little radio button in here. What we also want to do, go back to that in just a sec, add a little text. So that's going to add it there. I don't actually want that there. You kind of have to play with the formatting a little bit. So sometimes you got to drag it over. Okay. So what you want to do here is say, what do you want to see? Like, what do you want to see? Now let's maybe make this a little bit better when you're doing it, but you have the email opt-in here. Then you have this little kind of like radio select, which is super helpful. I like having it horizontal, just it doesn't take up quite as much space. You can then go in here, and if you have a property already that you're collecting data for, you can add that in here. You can go down, search for it. If you have it in there already, great. If you don't have it in there, you can also just add a new property in here too, right? So if I wanted to add a new property, we already have gender. So if I wanted to create that new property, I would just literally go in, type in gender, and then click create gender. That's going to create a new profile property, which means it's going to be another option for us to give Klaviyo some more information and segment based off of that information. So for the purposes of this, I already got this created. So gender here, option 1, this is what's going to show up on the label. So the label section is obviously what's going to show up on the label. So let's say men's, let's say women's, and then let's add in a final one, both. And then for the property side of things, this is going to be, okay, what you're going to have to do here, if you haven't created this profile property yet, you'd actually have to create the profile property here. So again, you can just type it in. Let's say I want to do like cats. right? You then create cats, and you could create that, no problem. It's going to create that property for you, and you're going to be able to select that. And then you're also going to be able to segment that. Again, I just want to select the value here. I want to say men here, and then I want to say should be women, and then both. And now what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to segment further when we're sending the welcome series, number one, when we're sending any sort of other emails as well, right? If we're sending campaigns, if we're sending a campaign about new fall dresses, a lot of men probably aren't going to be interested in that, and they're probably be like, cool, thanks guys, not interested. But if we can speak more closely to what people actually want to see, it's going to convert better. So that's effectively how you do this. It can be really, really helpful, again, for these kind of reasons. What I would recommend doing as well is just make sure you're monitoring this and make sure it doesn't dramatically impact your opt-in rate. So having something like this where it's as easy as humanly possible for someone to do it, it's going to help to reduce the impact on the opt-in rate. Now, if you have like 7 questions, like I mentioned before, it's going to dramatically reduce that opt-in rate. So the more questions you have, typically the lower the opt-in rate. This is how you create that multi-step form. What you can then do after you've done this, because there's no videos of this online, that's why I'm creating this video. You can go in here. What you're going to have to do is go into lists and segments. And then you actually need, in order for this property to show up, you need to have someone actually submit the form. So without that, it's not going to show up and you're not going to be able to create a list and segment. Now with this one, I went and tested it out so I can see, okay, cool. This is now my segment here for men. And then again, you can go and target based off of that segment. So hopefully this video provided a little bit of value to you. If you did like it, feel free to subscribe. I post a ton of these videos all the time, and thanks for watching. Thanks so much for watching. And if you did like the video, feel free to like and subscribe. It does really help out a lot. And if you do have a D2C brand and you'd like our help, feel free to check out the links in the description below. For brands doing over $50,000 a month, you can apply to work with our agency. And for brands doing less than $50,000 a month, you can apply for our email mastery program.